Grinders, it's your boy Poker back on the grind. Haven't done a video in a long time, guys. I got quite a bit going on, but I wanted to show you a study session. I'm known to not study for many years, but I'm trying to change that. So last week, it's still new to me, I bought GTO Wizard. It's a study tool most poker players know about. You can look at charts, and you can also set this up for different situations. So for poker-wise, Sundays is a very big poker day for all poker players if you're a tournament poker player. So I'm playing tonight, so I want to get a bit of studying in. I'm going to Pennsylvania, guys, for the state championships in 2 weeks. I want to buy in $550 entry fee, so it's 800 Canadian to go to Pennsylvania to play in a $200,000 prize pool tournament. You have a chance to win a trip to Vegas. I have a lot of poker going on soon. I'm playing in a tournament at the CNE down in Toronto. I'm going to be playing a lot of poker, so I want to start getting better. So I'm going to show you a quick little study session. I've set this up where all these guys are playing GTO, and why I'm doing that is so I can learn the proper bet sizing of what you're supposed to do at what stack depths. I'm going to study just from the small blind, and I set it up versus an open, so you can do whatever kind of study you want. So I've set it up that we're going to be in the small blind for a little bit, and we're just going to react to people raising from the there. So they show you the answers over here, and you can hide this. But what I like to do is, even though if I know the answer, I would not have thought this. I would have thought this is a call. I think they're saying this is a jam, more of a jam. So 70% they're saying go all in more. I never would ever do that in real play, but that's very interesting. But what I like to do is when you go to these fast ones, so this is a fold, I know that right away, but what I sometimes do if I'm not trying to play fast is I try to think what's the bottom of my range. So I know Jack 7's a fold, but when do you start calling a Jack? Is it Jack Queen? And then what you do is here it says Jack 7, and all the way up. So now, so even Queen Jack offsuit is 50-50. So I was right. It's Jack Queen. Jack Queen suited is a call. But so sometimes if you just want to go fast, you can go fast, which is I sometimes do this to get in a groove. But so sometimes this is one way of learning, just so you're kind of going fast. But if you don't want to do it this way, so okay, I know this is a fold, but then try to think like, when do you start calling? So right now 10 Queen off was right at the bottom. They're showing they're showing Jack 10 off is a fold too. So you can hide this chart if you're trying not to cheat yourself, but it's kind of good to know this. Now with this stack size, this is where I think, and I'm going to look at the chart in a second, I would think ace queen off is a jam and ace queen suited is more of a 3-bet, but I'm going to go with my gut here and see if I'm right. So I am right, but let's see. So over here, so I was right. So what this means, so the problem with using these tools is some people don't understand the theory behind it, and this is the problem based on your skill level. It is still good to learn this, but you have to understand the why, and I'm not a coach by any means, but I do get some concepts. So ace queen offsuit is why they want you to go all in, is because it doesn't have as much showdown value as a suited ace. So you still want fold equity. This guy is supposed to raise his a lot of his lower ace suited hands. He's got some king queens. He's got some pocket pairs, maybe some 10 jack suited. So you do have some fold equity. You do beat some aces that call. His ace jack off might call you, thinking you're jamming your pocket 10s, pocket 9s around that range. But ace queen, because it does so well post flop, they're suggesting more of a small 3-bet to induce action, and you're also trying to induce your opponent to make a mistake. So because it plays so well post flop, and then this guy could make a mistake and rejamming you. If you rejams, you're pot committed at that point because we're so shallow. But the interesting thing here to really learn here is also the bet sizes. So I usually, when we're 25 big blinds, this would be, 7 I'm accustomed of doing, but it's learning these bet sizes and why I had them set up to GTO is like learning, this guy is opening up under the gun here, and it's not so much that he's just raising, but it's how much is he raising to? So 2.1, and just kind of just getting a feel of like, what the right bet sizes is. And why I picked studying from the small blind was my brain was thinking, why don't you start at the most common spot? So you're constantly in the small blind, and you're losing the most money in the blinds, right? So you really want to get good on small blind, big blind defense, blind versus blind, and you really want to study button versus the blinds, right? So you want to me, study the most common things, especially when it comes to pre-flop, and then you want to practice a lot of your C bets and your flops, right? So most people are going to fold here all the time in tournament poker. The button's going to raise a lot, and you want to learn how to, how to play these. These are your main spots you really want to study, and then you work your way from that. At least that's what my brain thinks. If you're starting somewhere, why not? Don't go to like how to 4-bet, how to 5-bet. Start with the most common things. So to me, this is like very close borderline. My first instinct, because we're folding so much, was going to fold, but this shows that it's the bottom of the range. Ace-9 offsuit is a call here, and before this tool, like literally with a week ago, I was even calling like my weak aces here, like ace-2, ace-3. I thought you're supposed to defend almost all your aces. The big blind does, but the small blind doesn't, because also we can get squeezed here. So say I call here, so that goes to 2.2, 2.2. This gives him tons of squeeze option, knowing the hijack's going to raise, pretty wide. I'm gonna defend, and then he can come over top of us, right? So you have to be careful in these spots, especially late in tournaments. But these are great. Oh, this is telling me I should have raised. They should have 3-bet. So that's very interesting to add the ace-9 off. And I do this based on my opponents. So how it's good to learn the why, and then you want to adjust it to your table. So if this person here, folds to 3-bets a lot, it's good to push them. If you have a tight person in the big blind who's not gonna be totally aggressive over you, then you can 3-bet wider, knowing you don't have aggressive player. So it's kind of player dependent, and then also your stack sizes where you are in the tournament, to get a little creative. Sometimes you want to take risks, sometimes you don't. One thing I'm trying to get better at, and I took a very aggressive line this Thursday, if sometimes it's the right play, but sometimes I got to take a step back. If you feel like you have a big edge in the tournament, and a lot of the better players are out, I took a spot on the Thursday Thriller where it technically was the right move, but based on who was left in the tournament, I definitely could have just picked a better spot and then probably controlled most of the tournament. And I took a spot where I was ahead, but I just sometimes got to think more about my overall advantage in the tournament. So anyways, these are really handy tools if you haven't seen it before. And then you can switch it up for other positions. So I think this is definitely a call. It could even be a 3-bet, but I think it's a call. Let's see what it says. So it says 0 3-bets. So because it's suited, but when do you start 3-betting your offsuit? So they're saying Queen Jack off can be a bit of a 3-bet or so once again, your suited hands have so much value that they want you to see. So I'm getting so many messages. Okay, so we did some. I'll do maybe one or two more from the. So this is. So I know this is a fold, but when do you start calling? I'm gonna say ace-10. So we're gonna look over here. Wow, they're saying ace-8 offsuit, because it's 15. So ace-8. I would have thought ace-10. So I was close, but and then all your suited aces that want you to call. So I wouldn't call ace-2 suited here unless I knew the player. If this is just a random spot, I'm probably not just calling ace-2. If it's like a top high stake reg that I know is jamming correctly, then yeah. But so this is what I mean. It's like it's good to learn your wide and your ranges, and then you really want to base it on your players that you're playing. So we'll just do a couple more. So I find it cool to have these little streaks, and obviously the more you do it. So to me, we're almost getting close to jamming here, and because it's offsuit, I'm gonna try and see if we're right. No, so it's completely wrong. So now we're on a cold streak. So is it ace jack off? When would we? So I was 1 off. So if we're ace jack offsuit, they want you to jam. Ace-10, it looks like it's just a call. So I was kind of going based on that offsuit theory. I thought ace-10 suited would be a call. So ace-10 suited is pure call, but I kind of thought maybe my offsuit can maybe get away with a jam. They're saying 0% jams, and 7% of the time you want to 3-bet, or sorry, 25% of the time. So 1 out of 4 times you want to 3-bet this. So I just took a bit of an aggressive line. Here, I think it's a fold, but I would call this in real life because it's so sneaky. Oh, it is a call. So I thought the GTO would want you to fold, but I call these unless I have a really aggressive player here that does a lot of squeezes. Then sometimes I wouldn't, and then depending on who opens here. But when I'm at the bottom of my ranges and stuff, I really based on who's raising and who's beside me. If I'm playing alert in a tournament. Here I would 3-bet. Let's just see if I'm right. No, yeah, 50-50. So 53% of the time you call, 46% of the time you 3-bet. So once again, probably player dependent. And lately, I would have gone a little bit bigger. So I'm really trying to get better at bet sizing. Because we're only 60 big blinds is why they went a bit smaller. If we were 80 and above, we actually would have went here. It sounds small to you guys, but it's 9.8. If we were a deeper stack, I would have went to 10.3. And I'm trying to, for years, I shouldn't say years, I've only been playing tournament poker more or less for 2 years, like at a serious level. I was 3-betting too small, but I basically, how I learned all my skills more or less was watching people on Twitch and just my opponents. I played high stakes last year from spinning up a bankroll and spin and goes, and then I just would watch the top regs in tournaments, look at their bet sizing, and just assume if that's what they're doing, I just assumed it was right. And then I'd eventually see some of the hands they would wake up with. So is this a call? This would be very close, right? That's a fold. Is it ace 10? Yeah, ace 10. One second. My dog wanted to come chill in the bed. My son had a sleepover last night, so everything was a mess. Yeah, so that's a fold. It's ace 10 and above. So anyways, if you guys haven't used this tool, it is cool. There's so many other options out there nowadays. This was like the gold standard in the World Series of Poker this year. Someone was who won it was getting coached with someone on the sideline using that. Most poker players would know that. It's a huge topic in the poker industry if it was cheating or not. Okay, so we can do that. The one thing I don't know how to set up here, I'd love to set up the villain, just do blind versus blind, but I'll show you what's really, really interesting is I wanted to do, my opponent, perfect. Okay, so this is perfect. Let's do this. Let's just do some very interesting. We want to be in the small blind versus the button. Okay, this is the most, and he's going to be raising, so we're going to get a lot of 3-bets in this situation. And I have it set up where I'm only playing pre-flop, and you can have it where you're doing post-flop. So I want this right here is the most. This is where I wouldn't mind doing drills. To start before you start a tournament. And like I said, you can go fast or you can look at your bottom of your ranges. But I'm just gonna get in the groove here. Most of them are pretty straightforward. Here, sometimes you'd even jam, but because it's suited. But let's just see. Where did it want? Wow, wanted you to fold this? What? And it says 95% fold? Wow, when do you want to start calling a suited hand? 9-8 suited's a fold? Wow. Well, I would not be folding this. I'm just not. I guess I'm just calling way too wide, but there's just so much value post-flop. I get 8-7 offsuit, but wow, that's very interesting. Never would be usually folding that. Here I'd be jamming all day. Let's see if we're right. Yeah, all in. So this is where I 3-bet a little too wide, and what I do, and I'll just tell you why. I don't think people handle 3-bets. People in Ontario, they don't handle 3-betting enough. They don't handle it well. So so is this? I'll go with my gut. Oh shit! I didn't mean to go all in. Okay, so 41% of the time they did want me to 3-bet. So yeah, that's exactly kind of what I would do. I would base it on who's raising, and about it's probably that borderline. About 60% of the time I just call, and 40% of the time I would. So this is actually almost exactly how I'd play. It'd be really based on who's my big blind and who's raising. So here's just some of these are really straightforward. They give you some layups, but this is interesting. So here I think I'm learning that this is an all-in, and I wasn't doing this before, and I'm right. So this is off already after a week of studying, and let's see what the bottom ace is. So, and we're very close. So ace 7 and ace 5 offsuit are our bottom two that we want to jam. But then when you get to the suited hands, they do it more often. So I've just started picking this up, Arn. And we'll see if we can start adding it to our game. Now at this stack depth, do they want us to jam here? Because he's so shallow? No, they just want us to call. But 20% of the time, 20% of the time you're supposed to do this. So it's close. They prefer you just call. This is a fold. But anyways, guys, I've never shown a study session, and or I shouldn't say never. Maybe over the years I've done one or two, but it's because I usually only had like a trial. I did buy this at one point last year, but I only bought it for 1 month for Spin and Goes. Here I'd be raising, and you can even debate. I wonder if like jacks go all in here. Let's just see. So I raise. Well, where's jacks? So they're showing no hands just go all in because we're so deep. But that was interesting learning even those bet sizes. So anyways, guys, I want to get better at putting in some time with study tools. I want to buy a course. The problem is the one I want is $1,000, and if I'm spending $1,000 on a course, I really want to put the time. Yeah, I'm just talking and not thinking. Wow, I wouldn't have three betted that like that. Anyways, if I buy a course for $1,000, I really want to put in the time and study it. So it'd take me away from the tables. So it's an investment of not playing, not making money, and that's where I want to base it on when the next series is. But I might be buying. There's two courses I want. One's not as involved, and one's really, really, really involved. One's so involved that it would probably take me, because I'd have to not grind every night. It'd probably take me 2 months of not playing, of mostly studying, and maybe playing on Sundays or something. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to give a recap. I haven't had the best year in poker. That's why I'm obviously trying to get better. I do think I am much better than last year, and last year I had better results. Variance in poker is a bitch. I could show you charts, but I'm running extremely bad. But I know how I've been playing, and I think I'm getting better. So I think the results will show. I'm still making money, just not as much as we were last year. So hopefully we turn that around soon. I'll see you guys on the felt. Peace.